Madcap Experiment against David Price on Grixis Control. You saw that is not Grixis Shadow. This is just straight Grixis Control. We see Ancestral Vision, Kalitas. This is the old school version.
Yeah, 3 Ancestral Vision. You do see 1 on Suspend here. Though Todd has some really nice control tools as well. Jace Vryn's Prodigy online, a Liliana the Last Hope.
Yeah, so as we enter the game here, Liliana being hit down to 1 by a Creeping Tar Pit. David does have extra cards on Suspend here with Ancestral Vision, but it looks like Todd has an uncontested Jace Vryn's Prodigy that's threatening to flip.
Yeah, the Creeping Tar Pit does a great job of checking Planeswalkers, so Todd will want an answer to that one.
Yeah, we say Grixis Madcap, so walk me through what his deck's trying to do.
Sure. So it's playing fully 4 copies of Madcap Experiment from Kaladesh. This reveals cards on the top of your library. Until you hit an artifact, you lose life equal to the cards revealed this way. Though he finds Platinum Empyrean, which has the rules text, your life total cannot change, so it will be in play. At the resolution there, you actually just don't lose any life.
Todd's going to use Jace. He draws and discards, then gives flashback to Inquisition of Kozilek. He uses that to remove a Dispel from David's hand. Leaves David with just a land and a Cryptic command.
And if Todd had something like Lightning Bolt to take care of that Tar Pit, he'd be able to press this Planeswalker advantage.
Yeah, and there's actually an interesting thing happening here. David cannot both activate Tar Pit and leave up Cryptic command.
Yep. Could have done it with Dispel. That's why you see Todd take that one. Of course, he couldn't take Cryptic command with Inquisition anyway.
All right, the vision ticks down to 2. David still has control of these Planeswalkers. We'll see where he goes. He's going to take a look at Todd's graveyard. Anything possible to Snapcaster Mage.
I always got to be worried about that one. Snapcaster, one of the best cards in these kinds of mirrors.
Yeah, well, in a lot of ways, Todd's deck is a Grixis control deck, isn't it?
And you got to figure post-sideboard, Todd may have fully boarded out the Madcap package or at least gone light on it. 4-mana sorcery is not really what you're into, especially against a deck probably playing Terminate Kolaghan's Command.
You can just remove the Platinum Empyrean, yeah.
Yep.
Gurmag Angler is going to be the play here from David Price. He leaves up the Cryptic Command mana, conveniently.
Yep, that's strong.
I like this play a lot here.
And even if Todd just uses both Planeswalker abilities on the Gurmag Angler, it still attacks with 1 power at the end of that.
Right, Jace's -2, -0, Liliana's -2, -1. Brad leaving up the mana, it looks like he's going to fire up Creeping Tar Pit and attempt to take down Liliana. Todd, though, has none of that. Here's Snapcaster on Terminate for the creature land.
And forcing the Terminate on the Creeping Tar Pit means that the Gurmag Angler is going to require a different answer.
So he shrinks it. The Gurmag Angler will be down to a 1/4. He can't. I was wondering if he could shrink it to a point where Snapcaster Mage could interact favorably with it, but it doesn't look like it.
Nope, he's just going to have to jump in front of that one. If David doesn't remove the Snapcaster, Todd can chump block it, and then on the following turn use Liliana to -2 to get Snapcaster back. That could be worth some value.
Yeah, I like that going on, though. The more we start talking about lines like that, the more I start to look at that Ancestral Vision on David's side and think, hey, this is going to happen.
Yeah, Todd really has to get the momentum going in his favor. Things are slowly slipping away from him here.
Both players more or less empty-handed. Todd is with no cards in hand. David just with a land.
Yeah, and he does have 2 Planeswalkers, but these Planeswalkers don't do a lot at low loyalty numbers.
Right. Actually, no. David's last card is a Cryptic command, so he does have some. He has some action here.
That's a nice one to have as your last leftover.
13 and 12, the life totals here. So I'm going to come back to booth while there is a judge call. I believe what happened here is that, so we see the Jace at 1 counter. Now, Jace is supposed to flip on, when he transforms, he has 5 loyalty, and his first ability is a -3. It was incorrectly resolved to a -2. So he accidentally put the Jace to 1 instead of 2. Now, the question that the judge is going to resolve is, as they've played a lot of game on the wrong loyalty, they're going to ask what the resolution is. And when we know that, we'll go ahead and continue with the game here.
Sure. Yeah.
Jace
awkward.
Yeah. Jace Vryn's Prodigy, though, Todd playing a full 4 of it. Now, there's been some talk. I haven't seen that card in Modern in a while. There's been some talk going into this weekend of Search for Azcanta, a very similar card. As someone who knows Grixis control decks, do you have thoughts on one or both of these cards?
I'm more interested in Search than I am in Jace. Jace is a card that I've almost registered a number of times. Kind of the problem is it just makes removal live.
Yep.
Just dies to everything immediately, so it's not really fully a Planeswalker in that sense. 2-mana sorcery speed is somewhat palatable. I think you can get behind it. Certainly on the play, you could potentially leverage it, but it's just a problem that it just dies immediately. The thing about Search is that there's not very many Abrupt Decays being played right now.
Right.
There's quite a lot of Fatal Pushes.
Is the reason Todd's deck has gone for 4 Jace instead of any searches? As a Madcap experiment deck?
He's a deck that cares about creatures in a number of ways. Liliana the Last Hope, Kolaghan's Command. He can get this card back.
Okay.
Also with Madcap Experiment, you can use Jace to flash it back. That's pretty neat.
Okay, I do like that. That makes sense. There are some things we're seeing in his deck that kind of bias it toward the Madcap Experiment. You see as his draw spell, he has 2 copies of Sea Beyond. That shows because he actually has to shuffle the Empyrean back into the deck.
Now, if you're wondering if this is hot, new, modern tech, the answer is Todd has played 0 games with this, and it just kind of like makes sense to him. Whether or not those Sea Beyonds is good, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting when Chart of Course has been printed. This plays Sea Beyond.
Yep. Well, see, with specifically Platinum Empyrean, I kind of want to shuffle that one back in. With almost everything else, in particular in the Snapcaster Mage deck, I just want to discard a card.
All right, so the judge has given his ruling. The ruling is that Todd Anderson receives a game rule violation for having the wrong number of counters on Jace. Now, because enough of the game has progressed, the judge ruled that the Jace will stay on 1 loyalty, and they'll resume the match from there. David did go through decisions on which Planeswalker to attack.
Yep.
Enough has progressed. So Jace will go up to 2, Liliana up to 3. Both will target the Gurmag Angler. And Todd says go. He leaves back that Snapcaster to potentially block Gurmag Angler.
Yeah, and with Todd's configuration, this Ancestral Vision,
it's really looming.
It's just going to resolve. You know, in the sideboard counterspells he has, Disdainful Stroke. Well, converted mana cost significantly less than 4 on that one. Because he's playing all these Madcap Experiments, there's no actual room for Cryptic Command, so that card's just not in the deck.
Gurmag Angler attacks Jace. Now Angler was a 1/4, so Jace goes down to 1 loyalty. Todd draws. Snapcaster Mage attacks back. David down to 10. Jace back up to 2. Liliana up to 4. Keep Gurmag Angler as that 1/4. See Todd's hand is a land and a Kolaghan's Command.
The discard mode's not likely to do very much in the face of Ancestral Vision, but he's just trying to pressure David's life total, which he's doing a reasonable job at. You see David down at 10 here.
Yeah, 9 off the fetch land. But now what I think we're really going to have to look at is what this Ancestral Vision is going to do to the game.
The question is, how easy is it going to be for Todd to actually resolve Kolaghan's Command?
Yeah, I was looking to see if there was any straight kill spell for Planeswalkers. You know, a Hero's Downfall or Dreadbore. Doesn't look like it on David's side.
A really good kill spell would be a Tasigur and just having 2 creatures.
Yeah, and he does play 2 copies of Tasigur. So you see David unloads with that draw spell. 5-card grip now.
David plays Mountain for the turn. At this point, lands are kind of blank. He'd be into a creature land.
Yeah, well,
he went through 1 Creeping Tar, but he does have a 2nd in the deck.
He does have Cryptic Command in his hand, so these extra lands will allow him to cast spells while still holding up Cryptic. See, it attacks Jace down to 1 again. For the life total correction, Todd, we had him displayed at 13 life. He's actually at 15. Life totals now are correct 15 and 9.
Frequently, Snapcaster Mage lines up very poorly against Liliana the Last Hope, but with Todd's life total, or rather with Todd's resources so low, so few cards in hand, David might be able to meaningfully leverage a Snapcaster Mage here.
I like this. On the end step, David uses Terminate. Actually, on attacks, he uses Terminate on Snapcaster Mage. Todd's going to plus both Planeswalkers again. There's somewhat of a win here that Todd has gotten David to start terminating Snapcaster Mages. It doesn't really feel like card advantage anymore.
When you draw 4 cards in your last turn, you can throw a couple away.
Sure. Thought Scour on end step from David Price.
There's a point in the Grixis Mirror where you start targeting your opponent because you have all the stuff you want, they all have all the stuff they want, so you just want to draw a card. We're not there just yet.
Now, are you treating this on David's side like a Grixis Mirror, or because Todd's a Madcap Experiment deck and David isn't, would you just assume on David's side that you have the inevitability?
I assume that Todd has a sideboard plan to be less of a Madcap Experiment deck, similar to the way that Splinter Twin used to.
Sure.
So I'm treating this very much like Grixis Mirror, and the play patterns are very similar anyway. The play pattern for Grixis Mirror is just good against 4-mana sorcery.
On end step, David's still on end step. Looks like he will bounce draw on the Liliana with this Cryptic Command.
Possible he just has another Cryptic Command. He's trying to find a way to actually leverage that.
And Todd, you're seeing his lack of counterspells. He has Snapcaster Mage in hand, but no counterspells in the graveyard. He will, with the Cryptic Command on the stack, fire off Kolaghan's command, returning Snapcaster Mage and having David discard. That resolves. David discards an island. Liliana goes back into Todd's hand. David draws.
Yeah, so if David has a Cryptic Command for the Liliana on the way back down, that would line up really well here. Unfortunately, still can't use the Gurmag Angler to close out Jace entirely on its own, so he's still looking for something else. But going forward, for example, Cryptic Command for Liliana on the way back down, he'll be able to use the Gurmag Angler in the next turn to fully eat Jace.
Gurmag Angler hits Jace down to 1. But actually, both players, you see David just 3 cards in hand now. Todd, with these Snapcasters and Kolaghan's command, looks like he might just be able to card advantage his way through that Ancestral Vision. Yeah,
in particular, we saw David, he made a land drop last turn, discarded a land to Kolaghan's command. He found some air off of that, which is kind of your out.
And Todd plays a land. His hand is 2 Snapcasters and that Liliana that was bounced. He will just say go, though. So why not recast a Liliana here?
You got to figure that David was setting up to just Cryptic Command it. So Todd's going to see if he can force that Cryptic Command out in some other way. The Jace isn't worth very much. It's just kind of getting poked by the Gurmag Angler and resetting it a little bit every turn. It's not doing really anything.
So David will attack with the 3/5, try to take care of Jace. Now Todd will flash Snapcaster Mage into play. Options in the graveyard. Looks like Kolaghan's command is the only instant.
Frequently just the best card to flash back in these kinds of decks.
And Surgical Extraction, targeting Kolaghan's command for David Price. So in response, Todd's going to cast another Snapcaster Mage. He really wants the Kolaghan's command.
Honestly, Surgical, another piece of air in these kind of mirrors.
Yeah,
especially the Snapcaster Mage, really punishing David for having that one. So he has a follow-up here.
And he will cast. So in response to that Snapcaster, David's going to cast his own Snapcaster targeting Cryptic Command. So counter, bounce his own Snapcaster. Now the Surgical Extraction is going to resolve on the Kolaghan's command. So Surgical's out the Kolaghan's commands. So Todd Snapcaster Mage is going to miss. That exchange, Ryan, on the whole looked very good for David.
Yep. In the end there, it ended up very David. Not appreciably better than just having a counterspell for the Snapcaster Mage, but you know.
Yeah, Snapcaster counter bounce basically just is a counterspell.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if David hadn't resolved Ancestral Vision, pretty unlikely that Surgical would have converted to anything meaningful.
Yeah, he does have cards that are harder to convert, like
calling
that
a W for drawing 3 extra cards.
And so, at the end of all that, Todd has a decision. Does he want to block with Snapcaster or let his Jace go? He decides Jace goes to the graveyard. He's going to cast Liliana, -2. 2 cards into the graveyard, creature back into the hand. Has the option of Tasigur now. He'll go for that.
Yeah. Tasigur is smaller than Gurmag Angler, but potentially could throw that and Snapcaster in front of Gurmag Angler.
Yeah, has enough delve that he can cast Tasigur and leave up the mana for 1 activation.
Also, David's at 9. Maybe David just has to hang back the Angler now.
And David, only 1 card left. His card is a Snapcaster Mage in hand, so we'd have to see what exactly is in David's graveyard.
Yeah, frequently one of the better cards in these Snapcaster Mage mirrors is just Spell Snare, because you can counter Snapcaster outright. Nobody's showing up with that this weekend.
Yeah, that's actually interesting because there aren't too many. These decks are actually light on 2-mana spells, except Snapcaster Mage is such a good 2-mana spell.
Yep, it just hits the best one.
So, Tasigur activation used. The choices are, it looks like Jacevin's Prodigy or See Beyond. David gives Todd a See Beyond. That's a pretty good hit for Tasigur.
Yeah. It's a lot better than just getting a Thought Scour, because it actually gives you some card selection.
And an attack for 2 puts David down to 7. Todd checks out David's graveyard. He knows there's a Snapcaster Mage there. Perfect. Now it's going to be cast, it looks like. Snapcaster Mage from David. What does he want? Looks like a Terminate. He'll take care of the Tasigur. Gurmag Angler takes care of the Liliana. 3 cards still in David's hand. One of them's a land. He'll play it and pass. We are back to Todd. See Beyond. He drew a land that turn, so this could be a draw too. Draws Vendilion Click, Ancestral Visions, shuffles a land back in. That's very nice.
Vendilion Click is great here. You can use that to try to just kill David.
Yeah, we're at a 3-power flyer when David is 7.
Yeah.
Now, is there any life gain in the Grixis deck?
No, generally not. I don't think that there's anything available here. Sometimes you see Vampiric Link in the sideboard. This really isn't the matchup even if you add it.
And Fatal Push. Showing up for Todd. David's going to Thought Scour in response. Looks like Todd's trying to Fatal Push down the Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah.
Another Surgical Extraction in the graveyard. Looks so David, with 2 copies in the sideboard, has brought both of them in for this matchup. Thought Scour resolves. Surgical Push still on the stack. Snapcaster dies. David goes down to 5.
Yeah, Todd's still at 14. Gurmag Angler is a lot larger than the other creatures involved here, but Todd just has way more life to play with.
Yeah, if you count the clock here, it's in Todd's favor. He's going to main phase the Vendilion Click,
I like the timing here because David does not have Cryptic Command mana.
Yeah, he waited until that Thought Scour, so David was down to 3 mana instead of 4.
There's an argument for waiting until draw step, but most of the big draws, Cryptic Command is really just the best thing. Or like Snapcaster Mage, which would just be cast in response.
And I believe there's another Cryptic Command in David's yard, so that's also just Cryptic Command again.
Yep. Now you force more awkward usage, even if there is a Cryptic Command available.
Right. So David, main phase going to cast Nile Spellbomb. And he's going to crack it and take care of Todd's graveyard. It turns out Todd Anderson targeted himself with Vendilion Click. It's fair enough. Just a 3-1 flyer is very strong here.
Yep. Yeah, and there was Nile Spellbomb. This one's fine in the matchup because it replaces itself.
Yeah, I'm into that one for graveyard interaction.
And you see David just had to do that right away. He has to find some kind of solution for this Vendilion Click.
Yep. I think ideally, a Kolaghan's Command would be among his best draws here.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
And he's got to keep attacking. Todd's down to 9 from the Gurmag Angler.
Yeah, no copies of Liliana the Last Hope in David's deck. That would be excellent here.
Yeah, I was going to say, how does he clean up? There's 5 points of power here. So David says go. And then it looks like in Todd's upkeep, Snapcaster Mage is going to be the play from David. We're looking at a tap.
Could be tap the team, draw the card, try to force to the damage with the Gurmag Angler. If he has this plus a Lightning Bolt, I mean, this is already 7 damage. Even Kolaghan's Command plus a successful attack with these 2 creatures gets him there.
I mean, look at this here, Ryan. He has fetch shocked himself down to 2 for this Snapcaster Mage. This is his plan. Snapcaster on Cryptic. And Todd bolts him.
Wow.
And the fetch shock ends up doing David in, and it's Todd Anderson winning 2-0.